انگرید بتانکور. ما امروز خواهان آغاز روند محاکمه در مورد جنایت علیه بشریت هستیم که در تابستان 1988 با فتوای خمینی شروع شد و به اعدام 30,000 انسان انجامید.
There are no words for me to express the feeling, the emotion of being with you today, because we have fought so much during so many years to bring you alive to freedom. It's a blessing to be here with you, to see your faces, to see the joy and the force, the strength in you. And so, as I'm rejoicing of being able to see you and to be with you, then I feel that we have gained the freedom to look back and to ponder and to reflect on what has happened. 30 years ago, 29 to be exact, Khomeini, Ayatollah Khomeini, came with a fatwa that none of us will ever forget. It was a decree that opened the way for the most outrageous cruelty, only comparable to the final solution Hitler enacted years before, during the Second World War. It was about extermination. It was about mass killings only on the basis of people that were to be executed because they didn't think like the Ayatollah Khomeini. This was the starting chapter of the most cruel years in the history of the people of Iran. Ayatollah Khomeini knew the world. He knew how we thought in the Western world and how the people in Iran felt about the revolution. So to disguise this terrible crime in legality, he gave the order to establish a panel of 3 appointees in order to have like the appearance of trials, and 30,000 people were killed without any legal support by the state and by the government and through the minister and the Ministry of Justice of the regime of Khomeini. When I think about what happened 29 years ago in Iran, it makes me think that something in this puzzle is missing. You see, the very frightening part of this story is that we have all the information. We have all the names. We have all the documents, the proofs. We have the witnesses. We have the survivors, you. We have the testimonies. We even have the confession of those who perpetrated those crimes. We have it all, but we still have impunity. Today, the criminals that perpetrated those crimes are in highest position in the government in Iran. They are high officials of the regime. Today, the families, as we have seen, are still crying for those they lost. And today, there are people being abused through legal means because they are asking answers and justice. So why does it matter today? It matters today because we are alive, because we have the knowledge, we have the information, and we have the tools to turn bad into good through justice. If we are silent, if we pretend to ignore, if we pretend we don't know, we become accomplices of the crime. To be free is to bear the responsibility of doing what we have to do when we can't do it. And now that we're here in Tirana, that you are free and alive, and that we are with you, and that the world is with you. We have the duty to unite and demand justice. It is not sufficient for all the people that are alive in the world to just set aside and say, it's not my problem. It's always our problem. Impunity, injustice is always our problem. So how can we honor those 30,000 brothers, sisters, humans, Iranians, loved ones, those lives that were taken away without being able to produce and give and love and share all they were meant to give and share when they were born? How can we honor the loss of the people we love? The only way is by asking the world to give us what has been taken away from us, which is justice. We need to ask the UN to play its role. There is a High Commissioner for Human Rights in the UN. This is the first step. We need to ask the High Commissioner to begin an independent inquiry to investigate what we know, to be able to give to a third, neutral party all the information of what happened, so that in justice, this investigation, neutral investigation, can come up with the conclusions that will then open the path for a trial. When Hitler was in power, those were laws. To exterminate the Jews in the concentration camps, those were laws. It was legal to rule and to execute massively human beings because of their religion. That was a law. But it's not because it was a law that it was legal or just. And then the world came up with the Nuremberg trial, where the victims came and spoke and gave the voice and pointed fingers to the criminals that were responsible for those crimes. And it was not enough to say, I was told, I was following orders. It was not enough to say, I wasn't aware. We are demanding today to begin the process for a trial against the crime against humanity that began on the summer of 1988 with the fatwa issued by Khomeini that brought to execution 30,000 human beings. That's what we are asking for. We want a trial. We want the victims to be heard. We want the proofs to be brought. We want justice to be done. It's not enough to confess every day, as they do from Tehran, saying that yes, they killed 30,000 people, but it was to preserve the revolution, or it was needed because of the moment, or because it was the wisdom of Khomeini. All those who are trying to defend the legacy of Khomeini are in fact trying to divert justice from their own responsibility. Khomeini is gone. He's not alive anymore. And history is judging him. But those who are alive today have to go to trial. And we need to take them to trial. And it needs to be in international court. And we will not have any rest until this is achieved, as we didn't stop until you came back from Iraq and from Camp Liberty. So when I was reflecting on how to make it, to visualize the pain, the horror, and to move the souls and the hearts of those we need to hear us, I thought, what about committing ourselves to plant a tree in the name of each of the Iranians that will attain justice after a trial. Just imagine this arboretum of 30,000 trees with a personal name that we can go and visit and understand what our action meant. That is the date I have with you. Because one day, not only we will turn around this impunity and we will be able to have the criminals brought to justice, but one day also we will be able to come to Tehran and to turn those mass graves into beautiful arboretums of trees bearing the names of your brothers and my sisters and your sisters and my brothers. There is no biggest power against dictatorship than hope. You know that. I know that. So in the hope of gathering together in Tehran to plant those trees, I leave you with my dreams.